Manchester United 0, Newcastle 2. Quite simply, a pathetic and actually an embarrassing performance from the team in red. Genuinely awful. But you guys know me. I'm a positive person. I like to be optimistic and look on the bright side. So that is how we're going to start today. We are going to look at some of the positives. Okay, now the positives are out the way, on to the negatives. Manchester United got this completely wrong from start to finish. And I mean from start to finish. The first mistake we made was with the team selection. Ruben Amorim got the team selection wrong and he got the tactical setup wrong. Combine that with the fact that some of these players were genuinely awful. Manchester United had a very long night. Really bad. And the real big problem for United here was that just all day we were so passive. We didn't lay a glove on Newcastle. Sometimes you will look at a match and go, you know what, we got a little bit unlucky. We didn't quite take our chances or decisions didn't go our way. Not the case in this game. We didn't compete. We didn't get close. Newcastle, this was a training session for them. It was so easy. And it starts with United in moments trying to press high up the pitch. You see, what Newcastle would do would move to a back four. Now, that sounds odd to say because actually, they're naturally a back four. But actually in the play-out phase, it changes how they do it. So Trippier will stay at right back. The right centre-back will shift to the right. But then Dubravka, in moments, would move to the left-hand side of the centre-back pairing. And Dan Burn would move to the left-hand side. So Newcastle essentially kind of have this new back four shape to try and build possession. Now, in moments, United want to try and apply pressure, and we know how we like to do that. It is often the front three moving further forward, with the two midfielders then coming behind them, trying to pick up the players in the middle of the pitch. The problem is, if you do the maths here, you have a quick look over the pitch, United simply don't have anywhere near enough players to actually really apply pressure here. Something I always say, and it's a bit of a tip when you're watching games, is look at the back line. Look at your team's back line. If you have more players here than the opposition, then you are guaranteed to have less players in these areas. And Newcastle are a good team. I don't think they're the best in the world at playing out. In fact, it's probably a weakness of theirs. But we made it incredibly easy for them to always find a spare man, particularly with Trippier and Hall. They just always had the room because our wing-backs wouldn't connect to the press. It was so easy for Newcastle to play out from the back. And of course, we've got some examples of this. You can see initially here, Newcastle are in the back four shape with the goalkeeper in the middle. United are trying to press with a front three, but it's just not enough. And we've got Hall down the bottom here, the free man. No one near him. No one near him. All it takes from Newcastle is a bit of quick combination work, and they found him, and they're out of the press. That's so easy. 8 minutes into the game. It shouldn't be that easy. Hall, I'm aware, is actually now behind me, but he's got time and space so he can move the ball out from the back. Again, in a situation like this, United trying to press with the front three. Lewis Hall is at the bottom, just behind me. I should really move myself out of the way for this. Let me move that 1 second. You can see it here though. Hall in so much space, able to receive the ball. No one anywhere near him because the press is completely disconnected and it makes it so easy for Newcastle just to play out from the back. So that's the first issue for Manchester United. We couldn't really get any pressure on the ball and it made it quite easy for Newcastle to play out from the back. We play in a quality league against quality teams with quality players. You give them time, they're going to take control of the ball and Newcastle look to do exactly that. However, so far we haven't exactly committed any crimes, we just haven't pressed particularly well, but we've still got a chance to be compact and to defend as a team. But we didn't do that. This was incredibly disconnected. You see, Manchester United, this wasn't a 3-4-3, this was a 5-2-3. Now, that's okay. There are moments, there have been games where that has worked. However, it only works if you are aggressive from within your block, and there are moments where you step out and you engage. For example, the front three lock on, they be more aggressive. The centre-backs connect into the midfield to provide the extra man. That can work. Or it can work, actually, if we drop off and be even more passive, but we focus on being compact. For example, Xerxes and Ahmad drop a little bit deeper into a 5-4-1 shape. At least there's not space outside our midfield. But United done neither of these two things. The wingers were still pretty high up the pitch, but the centre-backs were still really deep in a back five, and it's disconnected. The front three weren't really affecting play at this point. They didn't really get close to the ball. And you can see in the middle of the pitch here, Newcastle have 3, Manchester United only have 2. And actually just look at the personnel. 3 athletes from Newcastle. 3 brilliant players, but so much energy in the way that they play. We've got Eriksen and Casemiro. Ruben Amorim got that wrong. Got that completely wrong. We done a stream before the game, looking at how United should set up, and one of the big focuses was on the fact that you have to pick athletic players. Players that can win the battles, win the duels, cover the ground. Not these two. Perhaps you could have played one of them, but as a pairing, Just no. No, you can't pick these two against Newcastle. It doesn't work. If you're going to do it, the centre-backs have to connect. They have to be aggressive. They have to help you out and match up in these areas. But that didn't happen, and as a result, it was so easy for Newcastle. This is one of the easiest videos I will ever do because it was so clear and obvious why Newcastle were successful in this game. Because the Manchester United setup was genuinely terrible, tactically, but also the players in the system. It's just all wrong. You can see it here. The front five, they're there. They're reasonably high, but what are they actually doing? Particularly the front three. They're not blocking a pass. You know, Xerxes not blocking a pass anywhere. Tonali can receive this ball easily in midfield, and it creates, I should say, just a real problem. I mean, look at Lisandro Martinez, top left as well. That's your centre-back. Who's he marking? Who is he marking? He's just kind of standing there doing nothing. And the problem here is there's 5 players doing that at the back. We don't need 5 there. One of them's got to connect. He's got to come out and be aggressive. He's got to help our midfielders because we're outnumbered in there. Go and help them. Go and help them. But, no. And as a result, our midfield 2 get isolated. Casemiro and Eriksen in this position here. They're sort of trying to stop the passes into the striker. But that means Joelinton and Bruno Guimaraes can just move into the space outside of them incredibly easily. Incredibly easily. Again, United should either retreat and be compact or be aggressive and move forward, not just open the pitch up entirely. We made this so easy. And again, Newcastle have got the extra players in these positions. All it takes is a bit of quality on the ball and you progress the play because the back 5 is so passive. A back 4 would be okay, but 5 across the back here, it's a bit too passive. They're only marking 3 players. It leaves us outnumbered everywhere else. And we can see it again in a situation like this. Again, the front 5, not really effective. Tonali can still receive the ball in midfield. We're not really stopping much here. We're just kind of existing. We're just in the positions. But again, look at Lisandro Martinez. His job, I really feel there, and I think Ruben Amorim will agree, is to be aggressive and to connect into that midfield position. We can see that Maguire has Isak here. That's not the arrow I was looking for, but you can see the idea. And Lisandro Martinez should be aggressive there. He should be moving out into midfield, but he just never does. And again, as a result, we are outnumbered in the middle. It's 3 versus 2. And when it's 3 versus 2 against quality players, all it takes is a couple of passes. Lisandro Martinez, the timing is so bad. So bad. Genuinely horrendous. He's so late to this. At this point, there's no point in coming out because you've just done it awfully. It's terrible defensive work. And again, Newcastle moved the ball forward and it was just the story of the game. Now, you might feel that I've actually been a little bit harsh so far, you know, using words like horrendous, etc. But I genuinely feel that was the case. And if anything, I think I'm being a little bit gentle. This performance for the first 30-35 minutes was tragic. It was unbelievably bad. Ruben Amorim obviously agreed. He made a sub inside 35 minutes, taking Xerxes off for Kobbie Mainoo. Now, the response to Xerxes coming off was, I thought, a bit embarrassing, to be honest, from the fans, booing your own player. You know, if he said something about the club in a negative way, yeah, sure, give him a boo or two. But just because he's been hooked after 30 minutes, seems a bit daft. Xerxes wasn't the problem. Manchester United were the problem. It was the whole team, including the manager and the players. This was everyone at fault, not just Xerxes. So I didn't get that response. Kobbie Mainoo coming on, he did make a difference. He did make a difference. He brought a bit more intensity, better ball retention. He was sharper than the rest. But I mean, the damage was already done. We'd already had 35 minutes of being overloaded. And I think the 2 goals really sum up everything wrong with this Manchester United performance, because it starts off in midfield where we couldn't really get close. It then leads to the opposition really easily moving the ball out wide. Then once the ball was out wide, our wing-backs not stopping the cross, which has been a problem for a while now. We never stopped the cross into the box. And then the box defence in the middle, from Lisandro Martinez in particular, unfortunately, just terrible. So I actually want to start off by looking at the second goal, because I think this one really captures a big part of the problem for Manchester United. In terms of profile, particularly in the midfield, you can see here, Christian Eriksen, for once in a game, we were actually trying to be aggressive. He's tried to engage in the middle of the park. The problem is, just in terms of profile, he's not a young midfielder anymore, is he? He can't deal with these twists and turns, and I mean, that screenshot is particularly bad. I mean, Eriksen, look at him, he's facing the wrong way, mate. And Bruno Guimaraes has beaten him so easily, and this is where United just have a massive problem. We're outnumbered already, right? We can see it's 3 versus 2, but when the 2 that are in there are so physically poor, like, I genuinely don't think they get in any other team in the Premier League at the moment. Genuinely, I don't think they make it. It's a real problem. We're outnumbered, and the players we've got in those positions aren't good enough either, and it's so easy for Newcastle to combine in these positions to move the ball forward. And then once the ball is out wide here, stop the cross. We're playing with a back five. We've got wing backs. Wing backs should have that license to be aggressive, to step out wide and stop the cross because they've got the cover of 3 centre backs. We don't do it. It was so bad from Mazraoui. He had a really, really poor game defensively. He didn't really get close to Anthony Gordon. And then also in the middle of the box, Lisandro Martinez against Joel Linton. I mean, we've got a problem here. We've got a problem. It's bad enough that when we try and go man for man in midfield, the opposition's midfielders are stronger than our midfielders. No matter what selection we go for, we have that problem. But actually at the moment, we're in a situation where not only are their midfielders stronger than our midfielders, but their midfielders are actually stronger than our centre-backs. That's a problem. The physical level of this United team is so bad. So bad. Again here, Newcastle have the overload in the middle of the pitch. I believe it's Murphy joins in on this occasion. But the point is the same. It's just so easy to move the ball around us. Isak drops off on this occasion. He gets on the ball. Look at the Manchester United back five. There's 5 players back there. And who are they actually marking? Who are they actually picking up? There's 5 of them. And I can tell you 3 of them that aren't even particularly close to a player. This is where it's too passive from Ruben Amorim. And it's easy for Newcastle to switch the ball out. It's a good ball from Bruno Guimaraes. He had a good game. Again, Mazraoui, go and stop that cross, mate. Go and stop it. That technique to stop the cross it's just wrong. It's just wrong. And then again, in the middle, Lisandro Martinez, we're talking about box defence. We gauged this in the summer. We were talking about this. And I said he's not very good in the box. And from some, I received criticism for that. But I think games like this just capture it. He doesn't get close to Isak. He doesn't get close. And this isn't even physically not competing. This is just not reading it. Not reading the game at all. And Isak has himself a very, very easy goal. And Newcastle United have themselves a very, very easy win. One of the easiest videos I will ever record in terms of match analysis, because the way that Newcastle won was very straightforward. They were aggressive in the way that they played. Manchester United were incredibly passive. Newcastle had physical athletes. United had whatever we had. Nothing. Absolutely nothing. We did not lay a glove on Newcastle all game. We had a couple of half chances, but that was more from luck, more than anything. It was a really bad day. Now, don't worry. This isn't me turning on Ruben Amorim. I think he deserves criticism for this game because the setup was poor and the individuals he picked were wrong in my opinion. But I'm not going to turn on him, okay? We're not daft around here. We know what we're talking about. Ruben Amorim is still a great manager. He's still very early at a new club. I think he said last night he's only had 4 full training sessions. 4 full training sessions. You're not going to change much in that amount of time. So this isn't me giving up on Ruben Amorim. I was saying yesterday, I think there's changes he needs to make. I think there are issues with the system. I think there are moments where we have to be more aggressive. But also, the current Manchester United squad has been built to a point where it's just terrible. It's a terrible squad. It cannot do the basics. The basics being technical control on the football and physically being able to cover ground and win battles. We can't do that. Tactically, the system's a little bit flawed at the moment, and it leads to games like this, which are just so easy for Newcastle. So easy. There's a lot of work to do. There is a lot of work to do for Ruben Amorim, his staff, his players, and I tell you who else, the recruitment team, because we need new players if this system is ever going to work. But not only this system, any system, we need new players. United are in trouble. We are in trouble. It's really bad. Talk of relegation, a bit too far for me. We're not going to get relegated. Let's really hope that doesn't come back to bite me. But I think we're okay in that sense. But we're a mid-table football club and we lost to a better team. A team that has been run better than us for quite a while now. It's where we are. In terms of today's video, there is nothing else to say because this is just where we are at the moment. We played a side that are much better than us individually and tactically they were set up better. And it leads to those results. So, yeah, that's all I've got to say for today. Thank you guys very much for watching. Hope you have enjoyed the video. And as always, I'll see you guys in the next one.